What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking ball about the Cats today, specifically basketball transfer portal action as Kansas State, just like that, has a new Cat. Kentucky center transfer Ugonna Onyenso. We talked about him maybe 5 times on the channel. We gave a lot of background info on Ugonna Onyenso, and conveniently, he is the newest Cat in Manhattan. First things first, I'm absolutely pumped, and I want to talk through my opinions about where K-State's going next, what can complete the roster with one roster spot open, as well as my expectations for Onyenso heading into his first season in Manhattan. Before I do, let me tell you this. If you like the channel, I'm making daily-ish videos about the Cats just about every other day, trying to get through the offseason one video at a time, and if that's something you're interested in, be sure and hit that subscribe button because it does help me out, and it keeps my videos on your feed as we get through this thing together. But guys, first things first, raise a glass. Let's all raise a toast here. This is a great win for the K-State coaching staff. Ugonna Onyenso, a massive addition, a guy withdrawing from the NBA draft process, coming back to college basketball. After spending his first 2 years in Lexington, he is headed to Manhattan, Kansas, via a Wildcat to Wildcat pipeline. K-State continues their dominance over Kentucky. I want to take a moment to discuss the entire transfer portal saga. I'm going to sum it up real quick, but for the past month and a half, I feel like all I've heard is about how K-State continues to miss, or okay, they're not there yet, they have to do this, this, this. Guys, there were a lot of people just pushing the narrative of, hey, let's all take a breath. And then there's also the people saying, these guys stink, get the heck out of town, these coaches and staff, what are they doing? They know what they're doing. If this doesn't tell you that, I don't know what will. You land a chore, Doug McDaniel, now Ugonna Onyenso, as well as guys like Bayfall, Brendan Hausen. I mean, there's some studs that K-State added to the class. CJ Jones, one of my favorite additions, and realistically, I think is going to be my guy for the upcoming season. That's my dude. But there was a lot of people trying to hit the eject button. I'm not necessarily in here trying to cash receipts saying, look what, this person said, this person said, this person said. But I just want to exercise caution going forward. In these transfer portal conversations, it is such a fluid thing that if you miss one guy, there's going to be 10 more just like him and even better than him coming behind. There's not such a quick, we missed here, end of the line, we're awful. I know that people want to use the excuse of, well, that's what makes you a fan. It's crazy, it's fanatical. It's just not that way, guys. Give these dudes a breath. Give these dudes some patience. I made an entire video dedicated to saying, everybody relax a little bit, it's going to be fine. This is better than fine. This is absolutely better than fine. So I wanted to get that off my chest real quick, just to remind you, I know this 13th spot, we're already in a great position as a roster. I fully expect this 13th spot, and I'll touch on this a little bit later, to be someone that can jump into the starting lineup and really contribute. I just want to exercise caution to anybody watching because it's so easy to jump off that cliff. Or, okay, this guy's visiting somewhere else, we're screwed. This guy's doing this, we're screwed. He's visiting Manhattan, we're locked in. It is such a fluid thing where it can change on a daily basis. That's why I'm trying to make some of these videos every other day to try to give things a little bit of a chance to breathe. When they come out, I know this is something where it's only positive news, but it happens a lot. So I'm just exercising caution for that 13th spot. But guys, I'm not going to hold back. That is going to be a dog that K-State brings into the 13th spot. And I feel good about Kansas State being connected to a couple of different people I'll talk about here later in the episode. But before I do, let me jump into Ugonna Onyenso. Now, at this point in the season, you've seen everything I've said about the kid. I've talked about him being a really, really solid defensive player. He's been a presence and a kind of comp that stands out to me. He feels like an Oscar Tshiebwe type player, a guy that can realistically be an incredible rebounder, an incredible dude for putbacks, as well as just shot blocking. This is a dude who can absolutely lead the country in blocked shots. And I'm going to place my prediction now. If he can stay healthy, he's going to do that. I think he's going to be the nation's leading shot blocker this upcoming season. And I know that's high praise. I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on the kid, but man, I am stoked to see him become a complete player at Kansas State, something that he wasn't really ever given the keys to do at Kentucky. There were times when he looked like that dude. There were times when he had that physical presence of, okay, we can't bring it into the paint because this kid's right there waiting for us. Offensively, okay, he's got some game. We can't push up on him. He's going to get past us. There's parts of his game that still need development on the offensive side of the class. But realistically, watching the kid shoot the basketball, it's not a clunky motion. He's got a shot that it really reminds me of a similar motion that Giannis has, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And honestly, if the kid can step out and shoot some of those shots, first things first, that's huge. That being said, the guys around him are going to keep him from having to do that. He doesn't need to do those things. If he can and he's feeling it, sure, man, go for it. But you have a chore right there at the 4 who can now step out and shoot the 3 easy, who's been a really successful three-point shooter. Then you've got some guys in the backcourt already that are signed up, on the roster. You've got Doug McDaniel, who I think this is the perfect place for Doug McDaniel. I know that's, obviously now hindsight's 2020, but you look at it, K-State brought in one of the most hefty facilitating point guards in the entire transfer portal and said, you know what? We're going to give you everything we need so that you can make the right decisions. Take it out of our hands. It's going to be on you, Doug. You are the guy that has the ability to see the floor this way. We're going to capitalize on that by putting you surrounded by NBA talent, NBA size, NBA athleticism. That's what they've done. CJ Jones, a guy who's a triple-double threat every time he touches the basketball. Then you bring in a guy like a JoeTillery. You've got Ugonna Onyenso. This roster can be really, really, really special this season. The 3 spot is going to be open. That's really where I think K-State's going to strike, is that wing spot. Maybe not specifically a 3, but someone that can put the ball in the hoop and elevates the ceiling of the entire roster that much further. Expectations are a good thing to ask for. Do I think that he's going to average 20 and 10 off the rip? Likely not. It's not a situation where I'm going to sit here and say he's going to be the Wooden Award winner or anything crazy like that. But he definitely has some really good upside, and he adds a ton to the unit. I've heard some people giving their season 1 expectations to be like, well, he might play 22 minutes, he might play 23 minutes. It's going to be more than that, guys. He's going to be closer to 26, 27. And the beautiful part that K-State has built this roster to, David Gasson is the engine that makes this whole thing go in the front court. Think about this. Chore hasn't played more than 28 minutes in his career because Buckyball at Samford, you're basically pressing the entire game. So you have like 10 different dudes that will see the court on any given night. Ugonna Onyenso has been, in a room where there's 2-3 different guys at the same position who have been really, really talented players. He hasn't had the full reins to be that guy. Both dudes are going to play a lot more than they have in the past. That being said, when one of them gets tired, one of them's huffing and puffing, one of them gets foul trouble, you've got David Gasson, who can guard 1 through 5, who knows exactly what Jerome Tang wants. Like, he is a dude that is going to be such a massive asset this season, where he can do really whatever you need from him. So David Gasson deserves his flowers in this as well. But I know that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the roster. We're here to talk about Ugonna Onyenso as well as what's happening next. For Ugonna Onyenso, first things first, great choice, my friend. What a great choice to come to Manhattan, Kansas, and surround yourself with other dudes that are going to the NBA. You've got good, talented dudes all around. The coaching staff is energetic. The fans love you. Great choice right there. Kansas State, as it sits right now, satisfies my 3 NBA guy thing. So I've said it in the past, the requirements to, I know I say this, I feel like every other video, but the requirement to win a national championship, except for isolated experience. The Kemba Walker UConn team, I didn't feel like had this, but a lot of recent memories do. You need 3 guys that are NBA players. Now that doesn't mean you have to be, first team All NBA when you get to that level, but 3 guys that can go to the NBA and have successful careers. Even if that's a G League situation, you need 3 guys that stand out on film. The best way to say it, like, you can get so good at watching basketball. You can decide every last thing of who's the best here, who's going to be this, who's going to do that. Analytics will help you so much. At some point, you look at the tape and say, this guy looks better than those around him. You need 3 of those people. Kansas State has them. You've already got your guy, Doug McDaniel. You've already got a Chore. Now you add Ugonna Onyenso, and folks, we're not done. There's the 13th spot, which normally, yeah, sure, reserved for, well, who's a good team guy? Who's a good walk-on guy? Who can we help out here? I don't think that's the way this is going. I've said it in the past. I've talked about it on the channel. I think all 3 of these guys have been mentioned at one point on the channel. But if not, let me say this. There was a report that came out from a couple of different people, and Jameer Watkins recently cut his cut-down list to top 6 teams. K-State was included in that, as well as Cincinnati, Michigan, St. John's, and a couple others. I forget off the top of my head. But K-State definitely, on paper, if you look at those teams, K-State has the element to be the most successful and the best fit for him. That being said, money's a thing, fit is a thing, timing's a thing, everything's fluid in recruiting. So Jameer Watkins is one of my 3 guys I want to focus on. The second one, Coleman Hawkins. The dude has been all over. He's a dude that has connections to Kansas State through Illinois, through Brad Underwood, through a couple of different things. There's been rumors about him looking for the most money. He actually put out a tweet responding to something about John Calipari saying, hey, we're not, we don't want guys with the most money. We want people that want to be here. And he basically responded to that, the accusation with crying, laughing emojis. So shout out to my guy, Coleman Hawkins. But people have complained about the fit with Coleman Hawkins there. I don't think there's an issue, man. I really don't. Coleman Hawkins did never really want to play like the big man role. He's a 4. However, you can step out and be a 3. K-State isn't going to limit him based off his height. They're not going to say, no, you got to be in the low block all the time. So you could roll out there with a roster that looks like Doug McDaniel, CJ Jones, toss my guy Coleman Hawkins out at the 3. Then you have a Chore and Ugonna Onyenso as a starting 5. The shortest dude on the court is Doug McDaniel at 5'11". Then it's 6'5", 6'10", 6'9", 7 foot. That's incredible. That's something to keep in mind as we keep rolling through. And the third guy is Arthur Kaluma. There was a report about Art potentially going to Michigan following in Naquan's footsteps. So there's some of that there. I don't know how true any of this is for any of those 3 guys, but if you add one of those 3 players, and there's more names out there that maybe just haven't been mentioned in association with K-State, but if you add one of those 3 guys, Jameer Watkins, Coleman Hawkins, that rhymes, and that's going to trip me up if not, or Arthur Kaluma, one of those 3, bring Art back, get either of those other 2 guys, you have a legitimate top 10 team in college basketball. and you're looking at the Big 12, you can be the fifth-ish team. I think that's how the preseason polls would shake out if you asked me today. K-State with that roster of any of those three guys plus what we have, you'd probably earn the fifth honor in the list. I mean, teams are going to look at a couple of other teams, but realistically, you could beat everyone in the league that way. That's a team that can beat everybody because of the size, the physicality. There's so many great things on the court and great decision makers. I absolutely love the fit of just about everybody on this dang team, and I can't wait to see how it all shakes out here this upcoming season. But guys, just as a last-ditch, kind of thought here, thank you all for the support. I mean, this has been such an awesome time. We're getting close to winding down in the transfer portal, so we're going to go back to a little bit more football talk. We'll go back to different things as that happens, but then again, this roster spot could be open until, damn near October. The way K-State's moved in the past where you had Keontae in August, you had Desi Sills in October. Whenever the right person emerges, we will talk about him, and I promise you that. But guys, it is a beautiful day to be a Wildcat. It's a great day to be a Wildcat, as it always is. But what a great day with Ugonna Onyenso headed to Manhattan, Kansas to be the newest starting center. Shout out Ugonna Onyenso. I cannot wait to see him take the court. But my friends, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you once again for all the support. I will talk to you here soon as we get more news. And shout out, we have another painting on the wall. Shout out to my guy Ryan Moss for sending that picture my way. But guys, I appreciate each and every one of you watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go Cats!